Okay, I wanted to show do a simple guide for new drivers. A lot of this stuff is pretty common sense, but new drivers don't know about certain things about a car, and I wanted to go through a few of them. One thing for sure is the emergency blinker here, and it's usually a red with a triangle. And if you ever get in a problem, you just push that, and the blinkers start blinking on both sides, and pull over to the side of the road. At least that way, people know that you've had a problem. Okay. Another item that I wanted to go over was the emergency brake. Yeah, that sounds easy and simple and stuff, but kids don't know about it. To move the emergency brake, you push the button and you let go on this car. Sometimes it's on the floor, but most of the time it's up here on a console. And to activate it, you just pull on it and it activates. So that's pretty simple as it sounds. If you ever want to use the car's electric while the car is off, on the ignition key there's a setting called ACC, and with that setting you can basically make sure that you have enough energy to start the car. If you turn it on, it can suck the battery dry. So if you're going to have the car turned off and use the electric for any amount of time, make sure it's set to ACC. I do that when I pump with my electric tire pressure pump. I use that setting for that. And you want to buy one of those. Those are about $15 at the Discount Auto and Walmart. It's a pump that you plug into your cigarette lighter and you can fill your air up in your tires. It's really cheap.
Transfer complete.
Don't ever run your car to the point where that light comes on the fuel gauge. It usually means you have like 1 or 2 gallons left, and you really don't want to run a car till it's that low, because air in the fuel pump is bad for the injectors, and it could really cause you damage, and you may have expensive bills to fix if you ruin your fuel pump like that. So run the fuel to about 1/4 of a tank and then fill it up before that happens. On a windshield, you want to clean a windshield once a month. You don't want to have a dirty windshield. If you have like sand on your windshield and your wipers go across that sand, it can easily scratch your windshield. And I've seen that many times. You want to wax your car 4 times a year. And I mean really wax it, not this fake wash and wax stuff they sell now. If you wax your car once every quarter, that'll avoid the paint from peeling and chipping. If you have to use the wash and wax, but you really should wax it with real wax. On the shifter itself, there's a button on top that lets you shift out of gear. Without pushing that button, you can't move it into reverse or neutral or drive. Now, if you're in drive, you don't want to go right into reverse. You have to basically put your foot on the brake and stop the car. Then you could go into neutral, then you could go into reverse. The same for a reverse. You go to reverse, then you stop the car, you go into neutral, and then drive. You don't want to bang right into the other gears. You can do that with second and low gear, but you can't do that with say park, reverse, and drive. You don't really want you have to stop the car. Before you get out of a car, make sure you turn the headlights off. Also, before you get out of the car, don't leave the AC running before you get out of the car. And what I mean is there's a compressor button here called AC on most cars. You have to make sure that's turned off, then turn off the fan itself. You don't want to have all that stuff turned on when you start the car. If you have a low battery, you can basically kill it right there if you left that stuff running. So you don't really ever want that stuff running when you start the car. Don't drive the car in water puddles. If it's too deep, you can actually suck in that water into the engine, ruin the engine. So don't ever do that. Make sure your tires are inflated to a proper PSI. On the door jamb, you can usually see what the manufacturer suggests. What I do is I take the maximum pressure on the tire itself. Let's say a tire has 44 PSI. I take 10% off that, and I put 40 PSI in there. and I feel safe with that because it allows me to get good gas mileage and it's not overinflating the tire. You never want to put it to the maximum pressure, but you never want to have it to go very low. And I figured 10%, maybe even 5% from the maximum pressure is a good way to handle that. If you have fog on your windshield in the morning when you're taking off in the morning, usually your car has a defrost button and a defrost fan position here, and you can sometimes try both of those to get the defrost off. But a lot of times you have to actually put on the air conditioner in the summer maybe, or in the late morning, or in between the air conditioner and the heater, and run that, and that'll clear your windows. Sometimes if you crack open the window, that helps too, but on this car in particular, it's really hard to find the exact spot. So on your car, find the exact spot that makes it work for you. Filling your gas tank, never overfill your gas tank. Never put diesel in your gas engine. If you have a diesel engine, yeah, you can do that. That's what you have to do. But most cars, 90% of the cars, maybe even higher, are gas cars. So you want to put gasoline in your car. Also, when you put the gas in, never click it to get the most gas you can get in there. As soon as it pops, stop putting gas in that tank. It could ruin your evaporation system if you put too much gas in there. And also, a lot of cars only require 87 octane. If you put 89, 90, 91, you're pretty much wasting your money. Refer to your manual. Most turbos require premium gas, but most regular cars only require 87 octane. Never drive the car when it's overheating. On the dash, there's a light called with a thermometer on it, and it's H and L there. And if it ever goes into that red area, the first thing you want to do is put the heater on in your car. Even if it's hot out, you put that heater on, run it full blast. That'll suck some of the water and some of the heat out of the engine. You pull over to the road as quick as possible and get that car fixed. Never run a car that is overheating. If you're in an accident, never let the tow truck driver tell you where he's going to tow the truck to. Determine where you want to have it towed and have the tow truck driver tow it there. A lot of times there's scams where they get kickbacks for towing it to certain places to get fixed. Sometimes those places break the car even more to get more money without your knowledge or without the insurance company's knowledge, and then you're paying more insurance and the insurance company's paying more. So make sure you know where you want to tow that car to before you call that tow truck. And the last few things are you want to replace the antifreeze, say, every 40,000 miles, transmission fluid every 40,000 miles. Even if the manufacturer says it never needs replacing, you need to replace both of those items. You want to replace the oil every 5,000 miles, say. Synthetic oil can go a lot longer. I use synthetic. I go to 9,000 miles. You could use semi-synthetic. It's a little cheaper. And basically change your windshield wipers every 2 years or so. If you go to Walmart, get an oil change, they'll change the wipers for free. Just pay the $10 or $15 for the wipers, and they'll put it on for you. You don't want to run wipers down to where they're no good, because you'll have problems seeing when you really need them. That's about it. Thank you.